listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome to the GM Shuffle. You know, DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I'm Geoff Schwartz, 8 years National Football League, alongside Marty Hurney. We have a lot to get into today, even though we're done with the draft. We're in between the draft. And I was thinking about this, Marty, yesterday. I was talking to a buddy of mine. So May, June, July, preseason football. It's almost here. The Hall of Fame game will be the end of July. I mean, it's almost here, Marty. We have so much to get into. We'll talk about some news and notes. Right now, we'll get into some roster discussion. This episode, we'll talk about best rosters in the NFL. We'll go division by division. So we'll give you sort of our best ones per division. And next episode, we'll go with our worst rosters. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube and check us out. Subscribe to any podcast platform. Give us a rating and review. We really appreciate any news and notes, Marty. And let's start with this. Rookie mini camps across the NFL this past weekend. And just from your perspective as a general manager, what is the point of these? And are you one who wants a full, like a 90-man roster for that? Are you more of a fan of just bringing in select guys and sort of doing half offense, half defensive drills? Like, from your perspective, what do you get out of the rookie mini camp?
I think our approach down late, and it all changed, Jeff, when you could sign these rookie free agents for basically a tryout. So,
Yes.
some teams when it first started, I mean, your pro scouts and college scouts would be going nuts to fill up, say, 60, 70 player camp. And we found out just not worth it, because the players you're getting aren't going to really help you get looks out on the field. And so what we did is we really started to reduce those numbers and focused on the mental part of it. And I think that's what most teams are doing now, is bringing the players in, going through meetings, going through the playbooks, going through the routine that they're going to have to go through as a pro. But really, it's about studying. It's about taking care of your body, going down the weight room, going through those, just getting an idea of what it's going to be like when the veterans come in for mini camp the next week and join you.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Saleh said he wasn't playing certain guys in mini camp because he's worried about injury, which totally makes sense. I mean, there are some guys that played long college football seasons now, go right to combine training, come in. You want to make sure that they ease in. And so, you know, you have your drafted guys, your undrafted free agents you sign, and then are there other guys you bring in just to see, or you just mentioned like teams sort of aren't doing that anymore, right? And it's just basically we're bringing in
They
guys.
still do. Still do.
Wh-
Depends on the
So
team, how many you want to bring in. So the guys who are still out there after the draft, after free agency, even maybe a couple guys that have been in the league and then out, and you can bring in. But what you're doing is trying to get enough numbers so you can function for maybe an hour workout a day
yeah,
on the field, as far as going through plays and stuff. But those are the guys that you really, you just, after you look at it, you say,
yeah.
what are we really gaining by doing this?
One thing I find so fascinating about rookie mini camp is that it feels like, Marty, you can sort of tell right away who has it and doesn't have it. Um, I know
Good
it's a
question.
very loose practice structure. It's not like a full practice sometimes. It's not even a full playbook. But could you tell immediately a first round pick, a seventh round pick, undrafted free, like this guy moves different. He looks different. We made the right choice. We made the wrong choice even sometimes. Could you tell early on in rookie mini camp?
Oh yeah, both ways. And almost it's faster the other way. Yeah, there were definitely a couple times where I went out that first practice and I would look and that head would just go boom straight down to the ground because you knew. I mean,
Yeah.
it just you just knew. So yeah, people make first impressions a lot.
Yeah.
That's what's important about it. And with coaches, Jeff, you come out and make a first impression, you stay there for a while in his mind, don't you?
Yeah, I mean the first impression stuff, it's pretty clear. I remember a couple guys. Actually was Greg Hardy drafted or undrafted?
He was drafted 6th round.
I
He was
remember
in the same draft with Antonio Brown, and they both fell to the 6th round.
I remember watching Greg Hardy at practice for the first time in that early in that and I'm being like, "Oh boy." I remember even telling him like, "Dude, just keep working, man. Like he was good immediately, Marty. Like I just remember that
Yeah.
standing out, and obviously not a first round pick, not an undrafted guy, but sixth round pick. You know, those guys are when you hit on 25% of those if you're lucky. And I just remember feeling like, wow, that kid's got the juice. Now, of course, it was a little different because John Fox did not do rookie mini camp. He did one veteran mini camp and he did it after the draft. It's very unique. I don't know many coaches did this, Marty. So, you know, most coaches have mini camp at the end of the offseason workouts. He did not. We just had our last OTA, did a conditioning test, and went off on our own.
Right.
So I keep my notebooks from every year I played. I have most of them. I got 4 here. I got like a great for audio, but like they're all like I got like this is one stack of them. Like I got them all, Marty. I kept them all. So I have one of my installs from Fox's first day. It's kind of funny. I was telling my son about rookie minicamp. We were watching something yesterday, and my wife is in healthcare, and sometimes she helps out with the Panthers too. So we were talking about rookie. I was like, he's like, "What do you guys do?" And I was like, "Well, we install a bunch of stuff all at once." So like I have it right here, day one install. Now again, this is veteran minicamp, but the same thing's going to apply. I wrote down all zone concepts for run game, all of them, all zone concepts. Day one install. I see day one install right here. Day one install. The top. So there you go. Day one install. Joe's watching a video. All zone concepts. We put a mic run. We put a base run in, which is another mic run. We put Buster, which is a mic run. So all zone concepts plus the mic runs. We put in all slide protections, 50, 58, 59, all the play action, the 136, 137 to 50, 51 includes the tight end being involved. We put in some empty pro, but again, all 4 down to the will linebacker. And you just overload these players, Marty, with all this stuff early on to see what they retain, right? To see how good they are taking stuff from the meeting room to the practice field. And then obviously the changes can be made and film can be watched, but you have to figure out, I think early on, who can handle that much information, right? Who can process it all at once? Who knows how to play football, right? Because all the stuff I said right here, for the most part, some of these concepts are run in college, right? Like zone runs are run in college, right, Marty? So how do you learn what the zone runs are in the NFL, what they're calling them, the technique, but also you did it in college, right? So how much do you remember from college? So to me, it's all mental, man. This is all what it's about. Those first couple of days is all these plays. They overload you with stuff. What can you process on the field in a short amount of time?
Did you ever see a player that was just totally overwhelmed
I
and you
mean,
said he's
yes.
not gonna make it?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I think that my superpower was I knew these things. Like this is like what I was good at, and I try to help the young guys out. But again, it's the thing that's maybe difficult. It's always like there's a second or third layer to everything. Like you can write this stuff down, right? Like everyone writes down. I mean, I don't know if they write stuff down now, but you know, I have detailed notes. Other guys write detailed notes down, but yeah, what do you do when it's not on the paper, right? What do you do when it's not on the notebook and you're in the middle of a play? And do you have a panic attack? Do you freak out? Like that's the thing I saw most, Marty, right? It was like kids could write it down all they want. Go in the practice field. Do you know what you're looking at, right? Do you know what the defense is showing you, or vice versa? Do you know what the offense is showing you? If things aren't exactly as they are on the paper, can you do them when they're not exactly the same? And that's what stood out to me is there are guys immediately that they were able to process stuff immediately, and some guys just never really got that.
And it's funny because that's one of the most important factors of scouting, right? Is can a guy process? We always talk about can he play the game from the neck up? Well, can he process? Things happen so quickly on the field. Can he go out and process to everything that's happening, the quick movement? And as you say, Jeff, that's what we're trying to get in the minds of these young kids this week, going in and taking these notes, but they really don't know how fast it's gonna move, do they? And let me ask you, I
No.
mean, was there a huge difference in your notes after you were in the league 3, 4 years than it was the that first week?
Um, well, for me, no, because I use note taking to keep myself interested in meetings, Marty. So like I kept good notes my entire career. Like I have my Giants notebooks down here. Like I always kept good notes because that's how I paid attention in meetings. Because I had to. Like I would get bored if I didn't. So I always kept good notes. It's also the way I learn and remember things is writing stuff down. I keep a notebook here, like at my desk. Like even now, I got these, these 5 spiral notebooks and whatnot. So I just always had to write stuff down. That was my method to learning, and I think that's actually the best way to learn is to write stuff down. So they didn't change. I mean, maybe they were more detailed, and maybe there were a couple different things there that I didn't do as a rookie, but um, I did add more like coverage stuff on my notes. Like I just expanded to what I was, what I cared about.
Yeah, I mean, I think this week is very important, and we had talked off air, and one of the guys that I have been extremely impressed with is Fernando Mendoza. Jeff, I
Yes.
mean, listen, he decides he doesn't go to the leagues the draft night. He stays at home, okay, with the people that are most important to him, and then he turns down a trip to the White House with his national championship team because he says missing minicamp, he's got to be there for the Raiders minicamp to learn. This is so good on so multiple levels. If I'm John Spytek, I am doing backflips. This guy knows what it is to be a leader. If you want to go in that locker room and you want to be the example, he didn't take any time
Yeah.
to set the example that, hey, this is about the team. This is about the Raiders. This is about us. I'm staying at home with my family when I'm drafted, and then I'm going to be with my team learning, trying to make us the best we can. That is what leaders are made of. Everybody says he plays the game from the neck up, and he has showed it. I think that he is off to a phenomenal start, and I love what he did.
I think there's no wrong decision about to stay at minicamp or to go to the White House, but there's a right decision, and this is the right decision, right, Marty?
Yeah.
Like, this is the right
Yeah.
decision. Like, any other weekend, I think you're fine. You miss an OTA, you miss something else, but to come in your first weekend when you're now the franchise quarterback, right? You're the face of that team, and this is a big week. We just talked about all the important things that go in this weekend, and him saying, "Hey, I'm gonna stay here." That to me feels like someone understands his role in the NFL. I love to see that from Mendoza. Coming up next, we will talk divisions and best rosters in them. But first, let's talk about Mendoza and really rookie of the year here on DraftKings at plus 350. This is my wager. I think when you look at his season upcoming, I think he'll play all 17 games. He has talent on the offensive line that's improved. He has wide receiver talent better now. He has tight end talent, obviously. I think he'll play all 17 games. And this is a guy I'd put my money on. Love's going to play, of course, but Mendoza has the capability as a quarterback to put up big numbers, plays a quarterback-friendly offense. But give me Mendoza here at 3.5 to 1 to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Come next, we'll talk some more NFL.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
All right, we're back here on the GM Shuffle. Let's talk best rosters, Marty. We're going to go division by division here. Just 'cause I think it's more fun to do it this way, and we'll try to get to all the divisions here on our show. Let's start with the ones in the East here, the NFC East. I think most of the teams in this division, all four, did a really, really good job of building up their rosters this offseason. I do want to start with this premise, though, Marty, as we get into this. How much are we weighing the quarterback position in these discussions? Is it weighing them one? Are they one, offensive line one, running back one, or is a quarterback you think worth 5 points instead of 1 point in this discussion about best rosters?
5 points.
Okay,
I
great.
I really I mean, I think all the teams we're gonna talk good things about are gonna have a quarterback. I think it's gonna be very hard to talk
Okay.
about one that
I just wanted to put that out there because you look at the NFC East, and I think Philly comes down as the best roster in the division. But the question is, do they have the best quarterback in the division, right? I would say Dak's the best quarterback in the division. I would say that maybe Jane Daniels at his best can be better than Jalen Hurts. I think Jackson Dart, the jury's still out on. So for me, Philly's the best roster. I don't know how much longer that will be the case, to be honest with you. I think they're doing a good job here. But you look at sort of impact players right now, Philly has more of them than the rest of the division. Do you agree with me on Philly having the best roster here?
No. No, and
Oh,
and it surprises me because Jeff, they did a great job. And listen, if they won the division, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm kind of on this kick here, this after this draft, and I'm looking at teams that had really good offenses, and their defenses were so bad they couldn't get out of their own way. And I think that Dallas was one of those teams. Um, I think talent-wise, you put Dallas's offensive talent up against Phillies, and I'm not sure that Dallas doesn't win. And now Obviously, the Eagles, their defense, not only their personnel, but the fact that Vic Fangio is their defense coordinator, he's one of the best in the league. It's always hard to beat them, but Dallas has made so many improvements on defense, up front, the safety, Caleb Downs in the draft. I just think that they drafted with a purpose. They drafted like a team that knows they have one of the top 3 offenses in the league, and they were drafting defense, and it makes it easier when you do that, especially when you have a blueprint how you're gonna
Yeah.
look. So, I think that the defense is gonna take some time to adjust to the new scheme, but gosh, Jeff, I'm not sure that I don't like the Dallas Cowboys to win the East right now, and I know a lot of people are gonna be,
Mhm.
screaming or cheering, but I just like what they've done this offseason a lot.
So obviously the defensive line, Quinn Williams, Kenny Clark, add Rashawn Gary, right? Which is important in this
Yeah,
offseason. They drafted Malachi Lawrence, so play outside
yeah.
linebacker technically for them, but pass rusher, right? They added D Winters, they added Kobe Durant, they added Caleb Downs on defense. They obviously drafted some other players as well that'll hopefully get some ability to play this year. Offensively, look, I think Dak Prescott is the most criminally underrated quarterback in the NFL because
Yes.
when he's healthy, he's really, really good. He's really good, guys. Is he the best? No. But I think if you look at like tier two of quarterbacks, he's probably the top of tier two. I mean, tier one obviously is some combination of like Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Jackson, Stafford. I'm sure I'm missing someone in that category. And then like maybe Herbert's up there, and then you sort of next up is like Dak, right? Like I think Dak, but he just he's not as healthy every single season, and that's why I think we look at him a little
Right.
different. Plus, he plays for the Cowboys. Well, you look at the offensive line; it's been good in Dallas. Wide receivers are good in Dallas. The tight ends serviceable. The running back is, I think, they're okay, not great,
Should gotten
but
better. Right.
Dak is really good. I think he's not getting the credit he deserves for that.
No, I mean, the one question you ask yourself, Jeff, when you're a general manager and you're looking at quarterbacks and you say, "Can he win a Super Bowl for us?" Yes.
I think
I
Dak
mean,
can. I think he
Dak
can. Yes.
Prescott can win a Super Bowl for you, and they just need to bring their defense up. I think one of the most underrated coaches right now. I don't know about you, but I love what Brian Schottenheimer did in his first year.
It reminds me of, almost like Doug Peterson, where he got, like, the worst hiring grade, quote, unquote, "grade" from the media, and I'm one of those, and then ended up being the best coach of the group, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure he's the best coach of the group. I think Ben Johnson is what ended up being the best coach of his cycle, but I think no one counted on Schottenheimer to be good. It felt like a filler for someone else that the Cowboys were to hire this year, and then he went up and did a good job. He has good staff, put a good staff together. I did worry about hearing that he's like too friendly with the players and too much of a players coach, but seems to be working for him, man.
Well, I think in Dallas, I think you have to have that, Jeff, because the owner has so much interaction with the players. You have to be able to make sure that you have those conversations, right? And I never that never bothered me about a coach being too coach to play. Listen, he did a great job last year, and I think he is going to be that steady leader that this organization has needed. And I love what he did last year. So we'll see, but I expect them to make a huge jump.
If you like what you're hearing here on the GM show, is even more VSiN Pro, betting splits, power and sharp analysis, all was done on your first month. Go to VSiN.com to subscribe. All right, Marty, let's get to the AFC West here. A very fun division to talk about best roster. I think most improved roster would be the Oakland Raiders, the Vegas Raiders. I'm never gonna not say Oakland Raiders. Oakland Raiders, the
Me
Vegas
either.
Raiders, the Chargers in LA being are what they are. But I feel like this really is a Denver Broncos crown to have here for best roster. Obviously, the Bo Nix stuff. I don't think we talked about this yet, Marty, with the Bo Nix news. I think we have to touch on this quickly. So, Bo Nix obviously hurt his ankle in the playoff game, was supposed to be back for OTAs, had another surgery, which is not uncommon, by the way, for a broken ankle. I had a cleanup surgery as well, but those are typically take the screws out, sort of make sure things are going well. Clearly, something else is up there. He's going to miss most of the offseason. I think he'll be fine for August, but there does seem to be a little bit of angst. Like, ooh, are we being told the truth about Nix's ankle? How do you feel about what's going on in Denver with Bo Nix right now?
It's so hard. I think he's gonna be okay, Jeff. I mean, listen, these rehab processes, I mean, I always kinda choke every time I see reports on Patrick Mahomes because it's just too early, right? But I think that you would have seen Denver do some things if it was gonna be, if they were really concerned. I think that obviously, that there's gonna be a very close watch on him. I doubt whether he'll do a ton, in the preseason and training camp, but I just think that, everything that I've seen from Sean Payton, I just don't get the feeling that it's gonna be a very, serious deal this year.
So the Broncos roster, elite offensive line. I think they're as a group above average skill guys. They added, Dobbins, who I think was a big deal for them when he was out. He's back healthy. They drafted Jonah Coleman from Washington, who I think me and you agreed was a
Yeah,
good prospect coming
yeah.
out. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. It does feel like they have the best roster, with the Chargers probably second. The Chiefs are young in a lot of positions. I think the Chiefs could be there eventually. Obviously, they have Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones. They're going to have the better group of impact type players. The problem is their roster is not as deep as these other ones. You agree that Denver has the best roster in the AFC West?
Yeah, I would have to say they do, but I would have to say it's a very closely knit division, and a surprise would not an upset wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the Chargers, listen, I thought the Chargers had one of the best rosters last year. They got just decimated on the line, offensive line, injury-wise. If they have those 2 tackles back, they're gonna be tough, and the Chiefs are always gonna be the Chiefs. So that's a very hard division, and I think one of the things that I look at, Jeff, that we don't talk a lot about, but my old late friend John Clayton would always harp on schedules. Who's got the hardest schedule? Because that comes into play. And the AFC West basically plays the AFC East and the NFC West. Not not an easy route to take, right? So that division, every team in that division is going to have a very hard schedule, whether it's in the NFC, AFC,
Yeah.
or in the other conference.
Um, I do think people are kinda sleeping on the Chiefs. I don't know why. Like, Mahomes is gonna be
Yeah,
back, they said.
yeah.
It's not a bad roster, guys. They were beat up last year. Remember, the offensive line was hurt.
No,
The end of the year with a lot of guys on injured reserve on defense. I love their draft picks. They added some juice to the defensive line in Woods and R. Mason. Their secondary is gonna be fine. I do think people are not giving them maybe the love, Marty, because they think that's sort of over, and it might be over. It might be, but the things we're hearing from Andy Reid about the offense changing, back to what it used to be, Eric Bieniemy being there, obviously will help with some of that. So, the Chiefs roster is not where it needs to be at, I think, compared to the Denver Broncos and Chargers. But if some of these young guys develop, we've seen Spags develop a ton of guys in secondary. It's going to be a really good roster again.
we need to go back in the spring every year and see what we say, and then see what happens in the NFL, because there are always surprises, right, Jeff? But I don't see how you cross Kansas City out. I really don't. I think the AFC West and the NFC East, 2 divisions we've talked about, could be 2 of the strongest divisions in this league from top to bottom. And I think you said the Raiders have gotten better. I think the AFC West is going to be a really hard division.
I think it's gonna be a hard division as well. I mean, this will be a fun thing all year round to see and watch this division, which became very difficult because teams got better quarterbacks, and that's what happens, Marty. Right? You get better quarterbacks, you become very viable. And Denver obviously had a great year last season with the Chiefs and Chargers coming up. All right, coming up next, we'll talk more best rosters and divisions. Well, first, Marty, defensive rookie of the year. We talked earlier in the segment about Caleb Downs. I know he's a guy that you're looking at here, potentially as a defensive rookie of the year here, 7.5 to 1 on DraftKings right now. Is he the guy you would take to win defensive rookie of the year?
Uh, Probably so. I mean, I like Sonny Styles. I like David Bale. I like all those guys up top. Arvell Reese could be one, but yeah, I like Caleb Banks. I think that he is a player
Caleb
that,
Downs. Caleb
not
Downs or
Caleb
Caleb
Downs,
Banks?
I'm sorry, Caleb Downs, my fault. I like Caleb Downs. I think he is a guy who can do everything. He's with the right team, I think, right now. And I just think that he kinda got pushed down a little bit during the draft process, but, I think he's one of the top defense players in this draft.
The most jersey sales from a rookie right now, Caleb Downs, Jacob Rodriguez, Lawrence as well, then Drew Aller. Not going to play this year, and Mendoza. So I'm not surprised Cowboy fans are all in on Caleb Downs. He does feel like a player that can have immediate impact. Look, guys, he was the best guy on defense, a true freshman at Alabama. I mean, what more do you need to know about his ability to be a good impact player? We saw that the best and most impactful player on a championship team at Ohio State. Let's talk more divisions, Marty. We'll go back to the AFC with the AFC East. We'll do that next here. GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
All right, Marty, we're back here. GM Shuffle. Let's talk more about best rosters in a division. Let's get to the AFC East here, a division that got way more competitive last year when we had the New England Patriots making a Super Bowl. It had been a long time since really anyone challenged Buffalo in any meaningful way, and curious to see what you feel is the best roster in this division. I think it's still the Buffalo Bills because I think they're just a better roster than New England at the moment. They're better quarterback, even though I think people really will view Drake May as maybe a competitor for the MVP. Certainly possible this season. We know how close he was last year to winning that award. The Dolphins, they're sort of going through a rebuild on the fly. And the Jets, obviously, I think actually have a good roster, but quarterback, talked about earlier, quarterback, we're waiting so heavy here. Does Buffalo have the best division in the best roster, I should say, in the division?
Yes, they do, and I think they also have timing on their side, Jeff. I mean, listen, this is that there's a lot of pressure because this is Buffalo's year, right? I mean, you look at this division, and I think the Jets and the Miami Dolphins both did phenomenal jobs this offseason in improving their teams, but they have so far to go. I think that it's going to take them another a year at least to kind of be in the mix of this. The New England Patriots, I think they're going to take a step back. I think they came out, they had a great rookie a year last year with a second-year quarterback. Everything went right for them. They stayed relatively healthy, had a lot of distractions this offseason. I just think the Bills are primed. They've changed their head coach. They've changed their coaching staff. Joe Brady is an offensive-minded, very positive coach. Josh Allen knows that the clock's running, and I think they did a lot of good things. I like what they did in the draft because when they were at the bottom there was a clump of players that were all basically in the same area. So they traded back. They traded back several times and got an edge rusher. I like Skylar Bell, the wide receiver out of Connecticut. I just think that this is their time, and they added John Fox as a defensive consultant who I really respect. I just think that this is their year. I think they have a very good roster. They've gotten Josh Allen help both offensively and on the defensive side of the ball. This is their year, and I look for them to win a lot of games, 12, 11, 12 type wins.
Looking at New England, who obviously made a Super Bowl last year, it does feel like we're still a little bit lacking at wide receiver, even though they have Dobbs now. Offense line's interesting. My guess is Lomu plays right tackle for now, swing tackle, right?
Yeah,
Because Moses finishes his last year in the NFL. It's a decent offensive line, but they really struggled last year in big moments. They added Vera Tucker as well. If he can stay healthy, big addition there. Running back, I think Henderson will continue to grow off his rookie season. Defensively, we know they're good, but they're not like, they're Barrymore obviously inside, incredible. Then Williams, really good. But it does feel like the defense is more, a function of the pieces together, Marty, rather than like individual superstars.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a very talented defense, and I give credit to Vrabel for being able to do that. But you're right. New England, they had a year sort of where they played all you can do is play the teams on your schedule. All you can do, right? When I'm not knocking that, but then feel like they had kind of played over their skis. The Jets fascinate me a little bit, Marty, here as we round out our division. Wide receiver, kind of like, right? Offensive line, not bad. Tight end, improved. Running backs, good. Defense, basically a brand new defense, but you had David Bailey, you had Pons in the draft. I think the Jets, their roster's on the way, Marty.
They have done a very good job. They have a blueprint. You can tell they have a plan. I just don't buy everybody saying that Geno Smith could be the guy that was in Seattle and not last year's Geno Smith.
I don't believe
I
it either.
just think that I just don't buy it. I think you have to get a quarterback first, but I do think that they've improved greatly, and now we're going to see what their philosophy is as far as coaching on the field, and can they derive a blueprint out of their talent, offense and defensively. The one thing going back to Patriots real quick, Jeff, I wanted to ask you is how much, if what we think is the worst kept secret in the league, and if AJ Brown is being traded to the Patriots after June 1, how much impact does that make?
Obviously it takes away a weapon on offense. I think you can never have too many of those guys, right? But he doesn't want to be there. So I think
Yeah.
it's best to get rid of him, right? Like you don't want a guy in the locker room who doesn't want to be there.
Right. I think it's a positive for the Eagles. What is the impact on the Patriots?
I mean, I would imagine less ability to to make you mean to help the I'm sorry, not the Eagles. What it does for New England is, I think you needed someone in this offense to scare defenses away from being in the box, right? And Brown will give the
Right.
ability for teams to be a little scared. Like you need to the thing about a game plan, right, is you have to have different ways to win. You have to be able to run the ball, pass the ball, but also be able to pass the ball short, intermediate, and deep. And having a guy like Brown will give a little bit of layering to the offense, right? Where safety's got to take a little bit of eye to Brown and not have an eye to a guy underneath. And I think that just the threat of that, so many offenses, Marty, are missing the threat of that, that it him being there brings that, and I think not in a way that Diggs did not last year, right? In a way that, like Boutte can get deep, but he doesn't scare you. I think Brown scares you.
No.
That's the difference.
He does, and the fact that Vrabel has been with him and knows how to use him and get along with him. Listen, anytime you've got receivers like that, you gotta get them the ball. They're all gonna be
Yes,
unhappy of not getting the
of
ball. I
course.
told this story before. Joe Gibbs always said he'd have with Gary Clark, Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, at least one of them would be waiting in his office Monday morning complaining he didn't get the ball enough. So that is something that offensive coaches have to deal with every receiver. But the fact that Mike Vrabel knows AJ Brown, been with him, had success with him, I think would help the Patriots immensely.
Let's turn now to the NFC West, Marty. The Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks are there, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Niners. It does feel like a two-horse race at the top, right? I mean, the Niners are a good team, but their roster is not as good, nearly as good, I think, as the Rams or the Seahawks here. Seattle had some departures, obviously, off a Super Bowl championship. I still think Seattle has the best roster in division, but I don't think the Rams are that far behind. How would you rank the Rams or the Seahawks here, Marty?
This is the issue I had, Jeff, with everybody saying, everything you read, Seahawks have the best roster, Seahawks going to win. What were we saying 2 weeks before the Super Bowl? Didn't we think the
The
Rams
Rams
had
are
the best
better.
roster? And when I say we, I mean everybody. I'm not talking about just you and me. I'm talking
Yeah,
about everybody. So 2 weeks before they won the Super Bowl, the Rams had the best roster, but they
yep.
went ahead and won it. My point is, it is so hard to repeat. And yeah, they have a terrific roster. And John Snyder's done another great job this offseason. I like the replacement, the choice of the running back at the bottom of the first round. I think that they've lost some players, but they still have the blueprint. But to win this is so hard. And obviously, it's a war of attrition, battle of attrition. You need to stay healthy. But man, the Rams are just sitting there and they're so good. The Rams are so good. They took a backup quarterback with the 13th overall pick in the draft. That's how talented their roster is.
Yeah, I would have taken someone else, but sure, they drafted a backup quarterback with the 13th pick
That's how talented
in
they think it
the
is,
draft.
right?
So Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, as we know, headline the wide receivers. Offensive line is good. It's not great, but it's good. Tight end,
They couldn't use it
they have a
both times.
billion of them, and they drafted Claire, so they have a million tight ends. Now, running back is good. Quarterback, one of the best. Defensive line, I think you need to see a little bit more from Jared Verse in year 3. I think last year took a
Yeah,
step back, but the talent
yeah.
is certainly there from him. They added Watson and McDuffie in to the secondary, which was their weak link on defense. So obviously, just an incredibly talented roster, a little bit of depth there. Again, they need some young guys to play a little bit better here. We just talked about Seattle, right? Wide receiver, shoot, JSN, incredible. Shaheed now has a full offseason there. I would imagine just more incorporation into the offense. The offensive line, I thought, was sort of an unsung story about Seattle's success in the back half of the season, Marty. They got a lot
Very
better
much so.
throughout the year, a lot better
Yeah.
throughout the season.
Yeah.
Zabel feels like he's on the path to be a Pro Bowl level guard. Tight end we know is good. Darnold, the running back room, they added Price. Charbonnet's hurt at the moment. Hopefully comes back healthy. Added Emmanuel Wilson as well. Defensively, incredible group, even with some of the losses to free agency. So I think Seattle's right there, right behind the Rams as best rosters. Quarterback to me is a big difference, right? I think you don't you get from Stafford, Darnold with losing Clint Kubiak to me. That's the question mark. We're talking about rosters, not coaching staffs. But man, that loss of Kubiak, Marty, could be felt by Darnold.
Yeah, I really think it will be, Jeff, and that's why I say, listen, the Seahawks are still a really good team, but if I had to give anybody the edge, I think the Rams are the team to beat here. It's just, I just think they're too good. They're too well coached. They're always on the same page, I just think that the Seahawks make playoffs, but I think the Rams are the best team in this division.
All right, coming up next, we'll touch on the North divisions. A lot of talent in those divisions. That'll be a fun discussion, Marty. But first, let's talk about the odds of the NFC West on DraftKings right now. The Rams plus 145, the Seahawks plus 160, Niners plus 260, and a big gap. The Cardinals are plus 9,000. For last season, Marty, I would have picked the Rams, but I was worried about Stafford's back. He seems healthy. I would go right back to the Rams. Plus 145 feels like a wager that I will make for the West here. Are you in agreement with me? Sounds like you are.
I am. I like the Rams a lot, and I think in the NFC right now, I like the Rams. I'm gonna throw the Cowboys in there, and I like the Eagles.
To miss the playoffs, would you make Seattle plus 210 to miss the playoffs? Any chance Seattle misses the playoffs? I'll come off the Super Bowl.
I don't think I would make that bet. No.
Okay. Number 1 seed,
They could.
Rams. I'm just throwing out Rams
I would not.
Rams plus 425. The leader right now to be the 1 seed, then the Seahawks and the Eagles and the Packers. The Rams feel like a team I would maybe trust to be the 1 seed.
I would too. Yes, I think they are. They're my pick right now to be the 1 seed.
I mean, think about it. They were that one fluky 2-point conversion play away from being the 1 seed, and everything was different in the Super Bowl. So, all right, coming up next, we'll talk to the North divisions. Man, so much talent, so much at quarterback, a lot of fun. We'll do that next. GM Show presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
We're back here on the GM Shuffle. Remember, guys, you can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, on your podcast platform. If you're listening 40 minutes in, you must like us. So please subscribe. Give us a rating as well. Pass along that you like listening to our show. Send us a tweet. Do all those things. Please help us promote the show. Our numbers are growing on YouTube. We want to continue doing that. Best rosters here, Marty, in the North divisions. Let's start with the AFC North here, because what a fascinating division. Right now, we have no quarterback in Pittsburgh that we like, I don't think. Baltimore has Lamar, obviously, but a new coaching staff. The Bengals have Burrow, but there's some holes in that roster, I feel like. And the Browns are sort of sitting right there with Deshaun Watson potentially being their quarterback with a good roster. I think I'd probably default to the Ravens with the best roster in the division. But I don't think it's that talented of a division with their rosters, Marty. What are your thoughts on most talented roster in division?
2 things here, and I think I'm going to take a shot and go with the best quarterback still in my mind, and that's Joe Burrow. And I think the Bengals surprised people. But look at this, Jeff. The AFC North plays the AFC South and the NFC South.
Ooh.
Now, that's a pretty easy
Yes.
There are a lot harder schedules, right, in this league. So I'm looking for the AFC South team to really have. I mean, I wonder if a team like the Bengals could have 10, 11 plus wins with that schedule. I mean, it just you're playing Baltimore twice and Pittsburgh twice, which in Cleveland twice, which is always hard. But I just think if their defense is improved and their offense plays like it can play with this schedule, I think Cincinnati comes up on top in that division in the North.
Wide receiver we know really good, right? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And obviously, the offensive line, it's fine. I just
Okay, yeah,
Brown
okay,
Jr., Fairchild, Karras, who knows if he plays. He drafted at Connor Lee, I believe, in the
yeah,
Connor Lew, I should say. Dalton Riser's fine. Mims is okay. I mean, again, tight end's fine. I feel like it's a lot of fine,
yeah, a lot
running
of
back, I
fun.
think, is good. Defensively, if defensively they just add a lot in free agency, they have to hope some of these young guys really, really start turning the corner, right? So it does feel like a lot of fine, some elite at wide receiver, and obviously, the quarterback makes a big difference here. I mentioned Baltimore, so let's get to Baltimore very quickly here, 'cause I think that's the other contender here for
Yes.
best rosters. Obviously, wide receiver to me is sort of something that's always a work in progress in Baltimore, but they drafted
Mhm.
Strat and Lane. I think Lane can have a big impact this year, the big wide receiver out of USC. The offensive line is going through some transition as well, right? They drafted Vega to play guard. Linderbaum's gone. Stanley appears back and healthy, and added Simpson. Rosengarten's fine at tackle. Tight end is good, even though they don't have injury. I mean, the thing is, it's injuries, right? Like a lot of these, like, injury, injury, injury.
Yeah.
Defensively, Matabuke being back will be super impactful for them. Calais Campbell, again, year 25 feels like in the NFL. Added Trey Hendrickson. Like, it's a good roster. I think it has the potential to be really better than Baltimore, than Cincinnati at some point, Marty. Maybe not now, though.
Yeah, I think you wish their offense line was a little better. I don't know. I just you wonder about all the transitions. It's I have a hard time. Listen, the roster certainly is very very good, but something was wrong last year. And does the change of staffs? Does the new players? Does that change it? Does Lamar come out and feel reborn? I have that image in my head right now. It's gotta change certainly if things go back to the way they were. They have the talent to win this division.
Let's move to what will be the toughest discussion we have, Marty, in my opinion, for this discussion here. The NFC North: Bears, Lions, Packers, Vikings. Who, buddy? Where do you even begin in this division? I mean, you have Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, and probably Kyler Murray, right? Um, I don't. I I think if you gun to my head, uh, I, I the Bears, I think might have the best roster. The Vikings, the quarterback kind of weighs it down a little bit. They have an incredibly good roster. Um, if the Vikings had a reliable, like, franchise quarterback, Marty, I might pick them. You look at wide receiver, offensive line, running back, defensive personnel. But I gonna maybe default to Caleb Williams here. I'm babbling here. What's your best roster in this division?
You're babbling for good reason because I think that the answer is the Packers if you have enough confidence in Love as the quarterback. And
I do
I don't
not.
know whether I don't know whether I'm there.
Mhm.
Right? I just don't know. I mean, they seem like I thought they were gonna get it done last year. I thought they'd make a really strong run. There's something there that just seems to be missing. So I am gonna go down to the Bears with you. I like what they're doing and think Caleb Williams just keeps improving. I didn't like the DJ Moore trade. Obviously, I'm biased, but I did not like seeing them let him go. But they have enough offensive weapons. I love the pick of Thieneman. So in the first round. So I just think they keep getting better and better, and I think Ben Johnson's a good coach. I think this is a highly competitive division this year. Maybe not with the highest number of wins, but I would have to go with them just because of the quarterback, and I'm counting on another year of taking a step forward.
So, Roma Dunze, Luther Burn, right? Headline the wide
Yep.
receiver group. They got Cleve Raymond. Offensive line, I think you're still sort of figuring out left tackle of the future,
Me
right?
too. Yep.
But your interior offensive line is really good, and right tackle's good. Tight end, fantastic.
Yep.
And then, quarterback, wide receiver. Now, defensively, they have the personnel there to be much better this year, right? That was a problem last year. It was a defense that relied
That's
a
it.
lot on turnovers and less
Yes.
on good play, but the base is there to be really good. Obviously, Williams taking another step forward will be huge. Are we forgetting the short lines out of all this, Marty? Because they've been a team that's been very reliable. They've been really injured the last couple of years. Losing Ben Johnson, they really hurt them. They finished 9-8. They weren't a bum team last season. They were plus 68 at point differential. They really did a good job of beating up on a lot of the bad teams. But you look at their, the wide receivers are good. The offensive line going through some makeover there, but they got Cade Mays playing center potentially. Ratledge looked good in year one. Panay Sewell moving to left tackle. Blake Miller now. No tight end is good. Come back healthy would be important, obviously. Running back, one of the best groups in the NFL. Even with losing Montgomery there, the defense it has the players. It's just health to me. Are we forgetting about the Lions, Marty?
No, we're not forgetting about 'em, Jeff, because I think, at one point a couple years ago, we saw them going like this, and they were everybody's favorite long shot pick, right, to win it all. I just think they've leveled off, and I just, you wonder how much longer Jared Goff will go. You'd rather see he doesn't have the ability, so you have to have the right scheme for him. It just felt like last year they sort of leveled off. Do they have a lot of good players? Yes, most definitely, but I just don't know what puts them over the top in this difficult division. So I just see them still being in that 3rd area in this division. I do not see them having the formula, offense, defensive formula, and really the players to compete with both Minnesota and, with, Chicago and Green Bay, excuse me.
The Ben Johnson departure has I don't think I remember like a team that lost to OC that you really felt it like this much. It really gets me thinking about Seattle this year, losing Kubiak to the
Yeah,
Raiders. That was
yeah,
it sort of didn't start fast, but then remember Dan Campbell like took over play calling. Like, it went bad fast in Detroit, and you
yes.
get that back, right? That was such an important piece of your success there. I don't recall quite the same departure in an offense that quickly losing an OC. I'm sure someone will give me a jog my memory a little bit better, but it was such a big loss for that, man.
Lost the OC and the DC in the same year, and those are your 2 most everybody talks about the head coach. Head coach is only as good as his coordinator, Steph, you know that, because they're the guys that represent the head coach in the meeting rooms, and I just think that was I thought they did a great job, really, of continuing and playing well despite losing their offense and defense coordinators, but I think there is a time where it starts to catch up with you, not that that's the be all, but end all, but I do think that it hurt them, and last year, and I think they're gonna have a hard time, really getting back to that level.
I'm curious what they do with Goff after the season. That's an end of season discussion, but it feels like this is his last year in
Yeah.
Detroit, and they're going to sort of need to find do that. Good for them. There's about 8 quarterbacks probably next draft that have the capability of being one of those guys in the future for them. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. We'll cover worst rosters next week, but first, let's get into Marty the division odds here for the North. I'm really fascinated by what you think here. So it sounds like you like the Packers, but same with me. You said something last year that really stuck with me. Um, you said that the Packers don't scare you. Basically, Jordan
Right,
Love doesn't scare you. I feel the
right.
same way. Like that's a good way to. I've used that a lot. Like kind of
Yeah.
putting that. So right now, the Lions are the favorite, then the Packers, and a pretty steep jump to the Bears at almost 3.5 to 1. Um, I know that the Bears are probably taking a step back. They won 7 games last year in the last 2 minutes. Like naturally, they're going to step backwards. But man, they have my eye, and I'll tell you what. Here, the Vikings is 6-1. If Kyler Murray is sort of average to a little above average in this offense with KOC, the Vikings 6-1 would be my pick, Marty.
One of the most interesting subplots of the year, Jeff, you just mentioned Kevin O'Connell, who I think is one of the best quarterback gurus in the league. What can he do with Kyler Murray? That's going to be very interesting. I think that's a great team to watch.
Hopefully you guys had a great time watching us today. We'll be back next week talking worst rosters. Please subscribe. It's free on YouTube. I'll keep saying it so everyone does it. Our subscribers are growing. We're doing a great job behind the scenes putting out videos and informing you guys about what we're doing. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great one, everybody.